Hello everyone. My topic is case concerning military and paramilitary activities in and against Nicaragua. This is the case decided by the International Court of Justice in the year 1986 between the Republic of Nicaragua and the United States of America. So the brief facts of the case are as follows. This case was about the military activities which were conducted directly or with the help of the United States. In 1909, the United States of America's military and marine rule deposed the president of Nicaragua and established their rule by occupying the territory of Nicaragua. A pro-US government was constituted, which led to the formation of several treaties between the two states. This led to a rebellion in Nicaragua between 1927 to 1934, which resulted in forcing the United States to leave Nicaragua while withdrawing the Marines. Somoza, who was the head of Nicaragua National Guard, was instated as the head of the state by the United States. He later ended up becoming the dictator of Nicaragua. After the earthquake of 1972, the Sandinista FSLN movement was seen rising. This movement later ended up transcending to a rebellion against the Somoza governed dictatorship rule of the country. This threatened the control of United States over the Nicaragua. As a consequence, the United States stopped its aid to Nicaragua around April 1981. This was followed by the armed activities being conducted against the government which was formed in Nicaragua. These activities were mainly carried on by FDN and ARDE. The involvement of the United States by way of supporting the organization led to the violation of sovereignty of Nicaragua. The government of Nicaragua filed a claim before the International Court of Justice against the United States. So this is how the dispute between the two states came before the International Court of Justice. So these were the following principles which was involved in the case are as follows. The key international law principles in the case are sovereignty, political independence, humanitarian law, and use of force. The ICJ used customary and international law to determine whether the US had been acting in violation. Specifically, it cited the UN Charter and the Montevideo Convention on the Rights and Duties of States, the Charter or Organization of American States, the Hague Convention 8 of 1907, and the Treaty of Friendship, Commerce, and Navigation of 1956. So now comes the issues which were involved in the case. So the first issue is this: does the ICJ have jurisdiction to try this case? So it was ruled in this case that the ICJ does have jurisdiction to try this case. Under Article 36, Paragraph 2 of Vienna Convention, the state affected by the decision of court on the dispute under multilateral treaty gives the court its jurisdiction under definition as a legal dispute. In addition, the US declared acceptance to jurisdiction. The ICJ also determined that, based on the Treaty of Friendship, Commerce, and Navigation between the US and Nicaragua, that it did indeed have jurisdiction. So, this is how International Court of Justice got the jurisdiction to try this case. Now comes the second issue, which was, did the US violate principle of international law concerning use of force? So it was held that the US indeed did violate the principle of use of force under international law as stipulated in the UN Charter, Article 2, Paragraph 4, in addition to General Assembly Resolution 2625, Declaration on Principle of International Law concerning friendly relations and cooperation among states in accordance with the Charter of the UN. So third issue was, did the US violate the sovereignty of Nicaragua under general and customary international law? The ICJ ruled that the US did jeopardize the right to sovereignty and political independence as stipulated by general and customary international law. This especially considered the idea that the state should not threaten the territorial integrity and political independence of any state, in addition to not intervening in another state's domestic matters. This ruling invoked the principle of non-intervention. So the last issue was, what is the US required to do if they are found guilty of Nicaragua's claim? The ICJ ruled that the US should immediately cease from restricting access to Nicaraguan ports and requested that they stop laying mines and provide reparation to Nicaragua for all their breaches of customary international law. So, what was the conclusion of this case? Now we have come to the conclusion. So, it was cited by the International Court of Justice that by citing numerous treaties and conventions governing international law, after extensive analysis, the ICJ ruled that the US had acted in violation of the territorial sovereignty, political independence principles, in addition to use of force and humanitarian law. These tenets of international law have been violated, resulted from US support to control forces in numerous forms, placing mines in the internal waters of Nicaragua, flying in their airspace, and attack on the specific locations. So that was my presentation. Thank you so much.